Welcome to Panel Surfing. I'm Steve Sanu, and today we have a very special guest. It's Mr. Paul Chadwick, creator of Concrete. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Steve.
Well, good. Glad that you could be here. Thank you so much for coming. The concept of Concrete, it was first published in 1986. It really feels like it still resonates with readers today. I mean, it really feels like an evergreen concept. When you created it, how much of that concept maybe drew from personal experience? You always hear about stories and anecdotes about how art imitates life. Was that the case here at all?
Oh, absolutely. I lived in Highland Park, Los Angeles. Concrete lives in Eagle Rock, right next door. And I went to Nepal on a trek. And so Concrete went to Nepal and built bridges and climbed Everest solo. Somehow it gets a little grander when he does it. But Concrete, let's face it, is a little alienated. He's awkward. He doesn't fit into this world. He craves female approval. Exactly what I was as an adolescent. So, as an emotional touchstone, I don't have to reach far.
When you go back now and write it, now that you're no longer an adolescent, do you find that the character has evolved along with you?
Yeah, and he's a vehicle where I can explore my feelings about my life. Not to give a spoiler or anything, but in The Human Dilemma, Concrete has a child, and that was a way for me to explore all my fears and wonder about having a child.
Well, before we wrap up, I also want to touch on, Concrete most recently appeared in 2012 in that 3 Uneasy Pieces, which collected some Dark Horse Presents work. It's been a couple of years since we last saw the character. Anything you can tease us about Concrete's future? Anything that's coming down the line, maybe?
Yes. The next miniseries is called Stars Over Sand, and it's, unlike The Human Dilemma, completely apolitical, completely set out in nature. It will be kind of lyrical and very psychological. It involves Concrete getting amnesia and experiencing the world freshly, seeing the moon rise over the horizon for the first time, and looking down at his hands and not knowing why he's covered with stone, and meeting people for the first time and being terrified. So something a little different.
Yeah, a little bit. That sounds like it must have been really exciting for you to delve into that concept and just...
Again, it was inspired by some travel. There's a place called the Sand Dunes National Monument in Colorado. Biggest area of sand dunes in North America. Once you go over that dune and you can't hear traffic anymore, it is the loneliest place in the world. And I thought, this very basic, minimalist experience, I've got to do a story about it sometime. And I started making notes the next day. So this has been germinating for a few years.
Well, I'm glad you did make a story of it. Sounds great, and I'm sure a lot of your fans and a lot of new readers are going to really, really dig what you've got coming down the line. But Paul, that's about all I've got for you. Thanks so much for coming out. Really appreciate it.
Well, nice talking with you, Steve.
Thank you. He's Paul Chadwick. I'm Steve Sanu, and this is Dark Horse's Panel Surfing.